Hey Fiends, I just wanted to jump in here at the very beginning and assuage any fears you might have. If you are kind of spoiler averse and, we're kind of curious if you should dive into this episode or not, we're pretty light on spoilers here. So, for the most part, I think you're pretty safe. If you're like hardcore, don't want to watch the trailer, serious anti-spoiler, you may want to skip this and save it until after you've seen the movie. But we're not going to go too in depth in the plot the way that we normally do on a standard episode. So either way, we hope you enjoy this, and we hope you enjoy M3GAN whenever you can get around to it. Take it away, Spooky Piano Man.
The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you.
Hello, and welcome once again to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist, Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm joined as always by...
the troll knockoff that takes dumps. That is Eric Velasquez. My pronouns are also he, him. You know what we're talking about. We're talking about M3GAN this week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And this movie, I think it did, crazy good in its opening weekend at the box office. It is kind of taking the world by storm, which is super exciting. You gotta love when, original horror comes out and, gets a lot of attention.
Oh, yeah.
Just means there's going to be lots
Anthony, more. Can we write this one off on our taxes since we actually went to the theater to watch this?
Yeah, I want, how much ever the taxes of that, 30 cents or something.
Right, exactly. Listen, man, every bit helps, okay?
Yeah, I'm taking it.
Right, exactly. but it's really good to see that basically the premise of Child's Play 2019 can actually make a good movie.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of similarities there, but yeah, this time it works better.
It really does, yeah. It's like they actually cared or something.
And I think a lot of that comes down to the writer and director of this are both people who have done other really cool things, and I think that says a lot about where this came from. So, Akilah Cooper wrote this. Her previous two films are Hellfest, which I love and I think is highly underrated.
Yeah.
Really great slasher set in a haunted, an attraction haunted house.
And how many of those do you get, right?
Yeah, it's such a neat idea because there's already a bunch of fake scary stuff mixed in with the real scary stuff, and it just throws everything off. And, I feel like there's a similarity. And then the other thing she did was Malignant. And I think if you look at those three movies, they all have this camp craziness to them. It's every one of them is cranked to 11. There's just something, it's just going to go for it. It's not going to shy away from just being so weird and out there. And I think that's what works.
Right. And I think another thing that helps this movie along is, there was definitely an artistic cohesion in that everything was Uncanny Valley, and that made it even better. You had Amy Donald is the actual physical body of M3GAN, whereas Jenna Davis is, I think, her voice and face.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just that almost adult face on this childish body, but also the face is basically all CG. It's just so creepy at all times. And also M3GAN's a lot of fun too.
Yeah,
she's a character.
This is definitely a movie that has knows the line of when to be scary and when to be funny, and how to it's got some, it has some Sam Raimi vibes in a way. Like it's not the kind of gross out stuff that Sam Raimi does so well, but like knowing how to be scary and funny together in that sort of like madcap way that he is so good at.
Well, as Anthony could tell you, I was literally pointing out homages throughout this whole thing, right? There's at least at least 2 Evil Dead references, if not 3, and the one that may not be an Evil Dead reference is absolutely a Chainsaw Massacre reference if it's not.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't want to blow too much of it.
And then it also, so the director is Gerard Johnstone, who directed Housebound, which is another kind of, he's from New Zealand, and New Zealanders have a kind of a weird comedic mindset too. Like if you think of like Taika Waititi and like the Flight of the Conchords people and stuff, like there's just a certain surrealist humor that they kind of thrive in down there, and I feel like that's definitely evident in this movie as well.
Yeah, I mean, what, Babadook is Australian, right? It's not New Zealand, or is it New Zealand? Because it's like, that's still that same kind of, like, distilted, almost German expressionistic, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah. Yeah, I guess it's just, that part of the world is just, it's been stuck on its own for so long. Hey, they just have a very kind of weird way of doing things, and it works.
Well, also, not New Zealand, but Australians have to deal with literally everything around them will kill them. So, unless they live in a city.
So, I mean, I don't know how far we want to dig into the plot of this, because it's, I don't want to like spoil anything for anybody, but as far as like basic plot stuff goes, this, I mean, it follows slasher structure, like there's like, it would be hard to really spoil this movie. Like if you've seen the M3GAN trailer, you have a rough idea of like how this is going to play out. There's going to be a robot doll, something's going to happen where she wants to start killing people, and then we're going to get a big body count as she kills a bunch of people.
Man, it's surprisingly low for all the stuff that goes on. But also the kills are impactful, each and every one of them.
Yeah, the kills in this are so weird, and like there's some really fun kills in this. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the adults in this thing, because I can tell you for one thing, if they are over the age of, we'll say 12, I'm trying to be generous to Katie here, they suck for the most part. Like all the adults suck. Her parents, they kind of suck. Her Gemma, who's
Gemma, yeah.
Can we say that's her aunt?
Yeah.
Yeah, her aunt, who's also a toy maker, sucks. They're all self-involved. David, he's funny, played by Ronnie Cheng. He's hilarious. Also sucks.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
Yeah.
There's...
But he's a lovable jerk. For the most part.
Yeah. And so there is that, like, it's kind of a common thing for, like, movie, like, anytime you've got, like, kids as the main character, it's usually going to have a lot of, like, oblivious adults who are missing out on things.
Right.
Here, like, I mean...
These are a little obnoxious.
Yeah, like, Gemma figures out what's going on pretty quickly, and then, but I think the thing here is, like, Gemma is, she's thrust into a situation. She's not planning on being a parent, and suddenly is, like, in a situation where she needs to be a parent.
Right. She's career-oriented, but she's really like a big kid, right? Because she has a bunch of toys, and anytime you mess with her...
Yeah, she's got a bunch of, like, robot figurines.
Angry. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not toys, they're collectibles. I mean,
yeah, that's right. Sorry. My bad.
But yeah, like, I think there's definitely that ends up sort of feeding into, I think the central theme of this is like our reliance on technology, like our society in general. Like we've got, Gemma has like a smart home, everything in the house, she talks for the lights to come on and everything.
Yeah.
And then we get like
her smart house is called Elsie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's like a bit where like when Katie's staying with her and she wants needs to be like read a bedtime story, and Gemma's like, "Oh, I don't have any kids books. So let me download one on my phone."
Yeah.
And then she's just like sitting there and she's like, "Okay, wait, the app needs to update." And then she just continues to sit there, and it's just like, you know, that's just such a real moment of us just like so reliant on our phones that when our phones aren't cooperating, we're frozen in the same way the phone is. And you know, that ends up being sort of like the central reason for M3GAN sort of like being such a part of this family, is that like Gemma doesn't know how to be a parent, but she knows how to program a robot to be a parent.
Right. That's wild. You know, if you think about it that way. She created something that does her job better than her. I guess technically this is also about technology replacing us as people and family.
Yeah.
Because, yeah,
I mean,
M3GAN's a good mom.
You know, with all the AI discussion stuff going on now.
Yeah,
and there is some interesting stuff there too, where it's like there's one sort of like through line that's like a really minor thing, which is using a coaster. Mm-hmm. There's like early on, there's a moment where Katie puts her drink down on a table, and Gemma like picks up the glass, puts a coaster under it, and sets it back down, and is like, you know, it can hurt the wood. You know, she's kind of this is right after she like chastises her for touching her toys and stuff. So like she's not used to having other people touch her stuff, you know. But then we get a little later when she's doing there's like a montage of like M3GAN's abilities, and M3GAN gets Katie to use a coaster, and then not only that is like, make this a science lesson. Condensation on the outside of the glass, because it, you know, goes through that, and Katie's like, that's really cool, thanks.
Right. It's like, you're a good parent, despite your other things later.
Yeah. And then like there's one more time like later on where Katie sets her glass down without a coaster, and the coaster's sitting right next to it, and at this point M3GAN has like sort of shifted her allegiances, where she's now like her and Katie are the unit against Gemma, and like there's a moment where like Gemma and M3GAN like make eye contact, like, are you gonna say something about the coaster? And M3GAN's like, you know, is like, nah, I'm not, like I don't care about the coaster anymore. So yeah, it's interesting seeing like taking something little like that and telling a little story within the story.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that through this. And even with, like, subtle little looks, you know, when certain things are happening and M3GAN just kind of just glances either at the camera or at a character, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what she's planning.
Yeah, for her to have, like, you know, like a plastic Uncanny Valley robot face, they do a lot with it, like really subtle stuff.
Yeah. And she has a great personality. Well, a personality.
They do a really good job with her in terms of, like, you know, when you have something like Annabelle or something where it's like, this is a creepy doll, and it's creepy right out of the gate, and like there's no question of what this story is going to be. And M3GAN, you know, she does have, but you know, with the Uncanny Valley like design, she is a little unsettling, but she's also like, to start with, you can also see how like she like it's a positive thing. Like she's there's a moment when like Katie is crying, you know, and it's like in the middle of when they're supposed to be doing a demo to show how great M3GAN is, and like all the developers are like, oh fuck, like this is ruined now, this little girl has messed everything up.
Right, but the level of empathy that M3GAN expresses in that one scene.
Yeah, like M3GAN does a great job. she handles the situation, she comforts her, she gives her some tools to help her. You know, she's like, you know, if you're feeling like you're like, I don't think this is like the first scene, so I don't think it's a spoiler to say that Katie's parents die. Like that's why she's with Gemma. And you know, M3GAN is like, if you're sad and you're afraid you're going to forget your parents, like there are ways you can take steps to remember them, and I can help you with that. I'm a computer,
right?
I can record this, you know. And it's like, not only is she helping her in the moment, but she's giving her tools to help herself in the future.
Yeah.
So it's slow. Like the lead to Megan's sort of like heel turn, basically,
Right.
it feels earned.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Well, there are other incidents that inspire it, and one that in particular that may have caused it. By the way, this might be a spoiler, but if you're sensitive to this kind of thing, Anthony, you let me know if you want to cut this. The dog does die.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say we definitely need to, because I know there's a lot of people who are that's something that they like to know in advance. There is a dog in this; it does die.
Not on screen exactly.
Yeah, they handle it pretty well in terms of like what they show, and also it
is a
animal cruelty is not great ever, but this dog is like a bad dog. Like
he's a big dumb
this dog
dog.
attacks. Yeah, and he like bites a kid and like also bites Megan and stuff. So it's like. It's not just like when Michael Myers just kills a dog for no reason. Yeah. Like
he's not he's not a well-trained dog.
Yeah. Obviously doesn't deserve to die. We should find a place for him to thrive where he doesn't isn't going to hurt a kid.
Right.
But it's not like a tug at your heartstrings or like that kind of thing. It's more an inciting incident into Megan becoming overprotective.
Right. To a degree, it's almost a gag, right?
Yeah.
Like it's that's how it's handled more or less. But leading on to that, I mean, there is a definite progression. Megan likes to take care of things, and she does it in the I don't know if maybe overboard way. She chooses the nuclear option each time, but she gets pretty close.
Yeah, and it's like you can like a lot of times when you have stuff with AI and robots and stuff, there's the issue of like them taking their objective too far. Like I feel like it's like a Star Trek plot that happens a lot and everything, where it's like, I'm programmed to protect the planet, and so now I'm going to kill all humans because they're the thing that's stuff like that. And in this case, it's kind of like near the end, she's talking to Gemma and says something about our child, talking about Katie. So like. Megan has moved beyond being like Katie's toy. She now thinks she is Katie's mom, and so she's going to do whatever it takes to keep Katie safe, and that includes murder
or possible. Well, saying lobotomy is that a thing? Forced lobotomy.
Yeah. So she's I feel like. Most of that you could probably kind of gather from the trailer to some degree, but yeah, it's
Can we talk about that trailer? Sorry. Can we talk about...
I mean that trailer like took the world by storm, like primarily because of the dance scene.
It is a good dance scene. It is fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm. And the way it plays out in the actual movie is so good because it comes out of nowhere. It's like I mean with it. Usually, when a movie uses a really good scene in a trailer, it's like, oh, you've ruined it now. Like when I see the movie, it's not going to do much for me. But the way that moment happens in the movie, still just it comes out of nowhere so much that like even though you know what's getting ready to happen, you're still just like so excited that it's happening.
Yeah,
and
that's a good trailer that makes you actually like when you're watching the events unfold, you're like, that's what I came here for.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the body actress for Megan is a trained dancer, and it worked. Like, I mean, beyond that dance, there's several other scenes where like Megan's body movements are graceful in a strange, awkward way that like requires a person, who can do those kind of movements.
And there are events where that her body is fucking terrifying. Especially when you're out in the woods or near the end of the movie.
Yeah, and that's like again, kind of like the way that it progresses. Like the scary moments in this are scary. Like they do a good job of like there's bits where you're just like shit, like that.
Right?
Like she does things that are genuinely unsettling.
Right, and it's so good though. And once again, because I'm a big I like my movies, obviously, but there's so many homages in this thing, like to just the weirdest the weirdest bits of trivia. I feel like we talked about Frankenstein 2000 last time, and it feels like that. There's like a bunch of little things here and there, and this you probably need to cut what I'm about to say and put it at the end. But if you were on the fence about seeing this movie, I have 2 words for you: robot fight. Okay, and it's with something that is that is also an homage to Jaws. So
yeah. Like the ending of this, I don't want to do too much spoilers and stuff, but like I think we could literally tell you the end of this movie and it would still be fucking awesome when you saw it. Yeah. Like you can't spoil how great the ending of this movie is. It's
really good.
But yeah, we'll keep it to a minimum anyway. But I think it's not spoilable.
No.
But yeah, it's just it's one of it's a rare movie that like fits together so well. Like there's a lot of things going on, and I think I just recently saw The Menu. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yep. Thank you, Chef.
And yes, they're very different movies, but the one thing that they're similar in is that they have a message, but the message isn't beating you over the head. But it's also not like completely obscure. Right. Like when you watch it, kind of like, The Menu's all about like capitalism and how wealth corrupts and everything. Yeah.
And not taking taking things for granted, basically.
Yeah. Whereas this is about our reliance on technology and us replacing ourselves with AI and everything,
right. Making ourselves redundant, effectively.
Yeah. But it does it in a way that, it doesn't feel like it's homework, like you're having a great time. It's fun, it's funny, it's scary. Mm-hmm. It's got everything you want out of a horror movie.
That's right. Yeah, I have to agree with that. I mean, especially like I said, if you're a big nerd like me and it's like, oh, that's the thing from the movie. That's another thing that's in this for you. The action's great. The gags are funny. Like, each one got a chuckle out of me, and like I said, the actresses for M3GAN, they got so much sass, and it works.
And all the acting, Allison Williams, obviously she was in Get Out. She's great. She does a really good job in it. And the girl who plays Katie, I saw something. She played Nell in The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, Violet McGraw.
Yeah, but her sister was in I swear I just saw like she's in another movie that came out this year. She's the sister in The Black Phone. Oh, so like, yeah, so. These two sisters are both in like 2 of the best movies that have come out in the past year.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough.
So yeah, I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more from them both over the next few years.
I mean, that would be a dynasty of scream queens, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's pretty cool. Oh, also, have you ever wanted to almost cry when a robot sang Titanium to you? Just wondering.
The songs in this are a really nice touch too. Like, and they're again a thing that rides that line where it's like they feel like sweet moments, but they're also a little unsettling. I think that's the thing. Like anytime you have like little kids singing, like it automatically just like triggers something in our brains where it's just like the kids singing like the Freddy song or something. It's just it's just a little creepy. But every time, like M3GAN sings several times, and it's always in these like sweet moments where like somebody needs to be comforted, and she's helping with that.
But it's just a little off-putting.
Yeah. Which is it's a fine line to be able to do both of those at the same time, and she manages it.
Fair enough.
There's also one thing that I'm just going to put this out there in the world that maybe somebody can tell me. Maybe you can tell me. If not, maybe somebody can write in and tell me.
Okay.
There's a moment where the camera lingers on a butterfly and then on an airplane, and I feel like it's trying to tell
Butterfly
me something,
effect?
and I don't. Yeah, because do you remember the moment where it's like Katie is playing outside and M3GAN is inside the house watching her out the window, and then like M3GAN like she's looking out the window and a butterfly lands on the window and she watches the butterfly for a minute and then she like looks up in the sky and a plane flies by and then she just starts watching Katie again and that's it. We never get any, and it's just like I wonder, because like a little bit before that we have a moment where like Gemma tells M3GAN about death because Katie's dealing with and I guess butterflies are a very transient thing that they only live for a short time, so maybe that's what
and they go through that metamorphosis and all that.
Yeah, and like a little bit after that, like because Katie is playing with like a suction cup bow and arrow and she fires one at the window where M3GAN is and it hits the glass right in front of M3GAN and she's like, you're dead. So it feels like there's like some references to life and death there. That's the only thing I could pull out of that, but it felt like something's here that I'm not quite picking up on.
Yeah, I would hate to say it's a reference to Final Destination. Hopefully not, but it almost seems like maybe it's something to do with the butterfly effect to a degree. But
yeah, I'm definitely going to be watching this again. Maybe I'll pick something out of it. Talking about not wanting to spoil too much and like this being a movie we saw in theaters, we went in with our little notepads and tried to like watch it and take notes without being able to like pause and and see in our living room. So it was different watching something this way and having to try to like keep track of. I went back and was reading my notes and I was like, what the hell was I talking about? Like, I can't read this word at all.
Right. I barely got some, but then I'm like I got random shit because that's me. I just I don't know what scene it was in reference to. I just have written down, what is ball? I don't remember. I know it's between some time of Gemma getting embarrassed and Katie. I apparently wanted Katie to lead a dance. Don't know, but I'm trying to remember. But I'm definitely gonna. Yeah, this is a multiple watcher. Like. If this isn't on my Halloween like list, it might be. It might be now.
And I've heard that they already like have an unrated like gorier version that's going to be the one that comes out on home video.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be getting that when it comes out.
Oh hell yes. Well, not only that though, there's a amazing amount of advertisements for toys for those big kids. And man, I want to work at Funky. Can I get that job?
Yeah, we didn't even say that, but that's how the movie starts, is just with a commercial for a toy. And it's called the Perpetual Pet.
Bro,
and it looks kind of like...
Well, the advertisement of that is what? These pets won't die on you? Or something like that? What is that?
Yeah, because it's like, are you sad because your dog died?
Right.
Well, here's a pet that won't die. It's a little robot Furby thing.
Right. That poops. And makes weird noises.
Yeah, it looks like a scary looking Furby, but it also has an iPad game that you can play.
Anthony, you just said the same thing twice. Scary looking Furby.
But like you can feed it like a Tamagotchi with your iPad, and then it will poop out candy.
Right.
Isn't that,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. I mean, yeah, pretty much. At least that place sounds like fun until the end of the movie.
Yeah. And because that's like at the beginning, we've got Katie with her parents in the car, and she's playing with that, and the parents are like talking about how much screen time they want to let her have.
Yeah, it basically leads up to the inciting incident, effectively.
Yeah. And then that all changes when she moves in with Gemma, who doesn't have any concept of like limiting screen time.
Right.
Because she's, not a parent. She's a nerd herself who's just going to play on her, computer all day.
Yeah. Building robots. Some that are only half finished that you have to control with a power glove. I don't know.
Yeah, that's straight up the Nintendo Power Glove.
So good. If we haven't convinced you to try it, or watch this movie, I don't know what we could say to get you to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like for this movie to like, it will be hard for this movie to get knocked out of like top 10 lists.
Oh, yeah.
of like best horror movies of the year. Like which is it's a ballsy thing to do, to put out a movie in like January. Those always get forgotten about by the end of the year, but I think M3GAN is going to stick around. People are going to be talking about it all year.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got to wait and see what happens in M3GAN 2.
I hear that that's going to maybe happen.
It has to. Especially with the ending.
I mean,
it has to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, when a movie does this well, like, you know, it's inevitable.
We've seen the franchise. We know what it is. I hope the next one's called M3GAN 2.0.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, I mean, it does feel like, you know, Hollywood, you know, they've done like a lot of like legacy sequels with the Halloweens and the Screams and everything, but there's a lot of like new properties that are happening, and Hollywood is like starting new franchises. Like, I think, you know, Terrifier 2, I think, is definitely going to lead to a Terrifier 3 because it blew up as well.
Yeah. After the first one, I'm surprised. And then what? The original was All Hallows Eve, so technically Terrifier 2 is actually Terrifier 3.
Yeah, but it is nice that we're getting a couple movies like this that like the horror community is embracing and is really loving, but that like the normies are really getting into as well, because that's how we get more good horror. Is when, you know, when people outside of our little like niche community also get on board.
Yep. I mean, that's what happened with The Exorcist, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, or like Scream. I mean, you know, horror was basically dead, and then Scream came out, and like everybody got on board, and suddenly we had like a boom of like new slashers and stuff.
Well, yeah, it was also like that with Freddy Krueger, right? When like the third or fourth one came out, and everyone was like, you know what, this is fun, stupid. We're even going to give him a rap album, you know?
Right.
So
yeah,
it's like that happens every couple of years. So
yeah,
I'm here for M3GAN.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and 2022 was such a great year for horror, and with this being like the Kickstarter to 2023, I think we've got another really great year ahead of us.
That's right. All right. Do we have anything else to say, Anthony?
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't. Without getting too much further into the plot. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just this is this is essential watching. Like, if you're you know not in a place where you can see it in the theaters, or you know it's not safe health wise for you or whatever, as soon as this hits, you know, DVD and streamers and stuff, you need to get out there and see this, because it's so good.
It is. Well, you know, Anthony, we've seen the good version of this, so I kind of have a little bit of masochism going on in me, and maybe we should watch the bad version of this.
Yeah, as you alluded to early on, this has a lot of similarities to the Chucky remake from a couple years ago, or the Child's Play remake, I guess I should say. You know, the original run of Chucky is not really very Frankenstein-y.
No.
It's, you know, it's all voodoo. It's, you know, it's an actual person's soul. But this, you know, that remake had a different story that is very similar to M3GAN, in that, you know, it's a created creature or robotic creature that then gets a mind of its own, and things go awry. So I haven't seen this movie since the theaters, so I'm interested to revisit it.
Oh, you're in for a treat. Honestly, like, well, we'll talk about that later. I have feelings about it.
Yeah, I remember being like, this is fine, but not as good as I want it to be, and I'm sure watching it right after M3GAN is going to make it seem even less good.
Yeah.
But I, you know, I mean, the Chucky, like the whole Child's Play series has been so good in recent years that, you know, I'm excited to, even though this one's sort of like outside of the continuity, I'm still excited to revisit it.
Yeah, we'll give it a watch. All right, Anthony, where can they find us?
All right, yeah, so, you know, you can find us in most social media platforms at this point. We're at the Frankencast. You know, Twitter, Instagram are still the main ones, but we're Tumblr, Hive, Mastodon.
Heck, we even got a Reddit. We need to post more on that Reddit, but we have it. We have one. Yeah. If you all are interested in the Reddit, get on there and start talking to us, and we'll do more. I think so. All of them are the Frankencast, except I think the Reddit is the _Frankencast. You can also email us at thefrankencast@gmail.com.
And, we've got a little community at the patreon.com/thefrankencast. We'd love to hear from you there as well. We're always trying new things. It's a new year, so, if you've got new things you want us to kind of get into, we'd love to hear from you, see what interests you. We've got a lot of cool things planned, but, we're always open to more suggestions there.
All right. Well, in that case, Anthony, to be continued.
Looks like you survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velasquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.